Yeah, okay, let me quickly introduce myself. That I'm one of the co-founders of sPanel and Scalahosting. sPanel, in short, is an all-in-one cloud management platform that allows every website owner to have a fully managed access. Lots of security, reliability, compared to shared hosting, which most websites are using nowadays. So let me start quickly. I'll start presenting to show you and tell you a little bit more about sPanel. And feel free to interrupt me anytime and to ask questions. I don't mind at all. So questions are really welcome. That's the login form of sPanel, where you enter the admin interface. When you enter for the first time the admin interface, you will see the following getting started tour, which will give you some more information about the different sections of the admin interface. Here is, I just moved from server management to accounts management. Really, sPanel has the features that people need to manage their websites, and nothing too complicated, so that everyone can really use it. The feedback from our users so far is that they really like the interface, but we are constantly improving it. And we mainly use the feedback from the users to do so. The admin interface in the server management, here you can see the configuration of the server, the CPU, the IP address, name servers, memory, disk usage. You can also add additional admin users with custom permissions. For example, let's show you what you can do. You can set custom permissions for each additional admin user. So for example, you can have one user that can only manage the accounts you add, and so you can add it just with that permission, or select anything in the admin interface that you want this user to have access to. You can also brand sPanel and upload your own logo to be displayed here, and also change the address where users log into the interface so that it doesn't mention sPanel. You can see the server status. You can restart services if needed. Usually you won't need that, and if a service stops responding, sPanel will automatically restart it. You can also restart the whole server, but also it's usually you won't need to do that. From here, manage accounts, you can see all of the accounts that you have added to the server and manage each of them. Here is a quick actions button that allows you to manage the account and quickly change the password, the username, the main domain that's connected to the account, or also change the resource limits such as disk space, inodes limits, the number of additional domains you can add to this sub account in sPanel, the number of databases and email accounts. When you click on manage, you'll get the management area, the user area, where the sub account is managed and where you can perform different things related to email boxes, to databases, to some personal settings for that account, where you can manage domains, subdomains, or edit your DNS zones. for the domains that you added in this account. You can also manage FTP users, additional FTP users, to access different paths, different directories in the whole account, or you can generate a full backup of the account, which will contain everything and which can be used to restore this account to the same state as it was when you generated the backup. It will contain databases, emails, configurations, everything that is currently in the account. Here you can also manage SSL certificates. You can see all domains and subdomains that are added in this account and the certificates that were installed on those domains and subdomains. sPanel supports Let's Encrypt, which provides a free SSL certificate for a domain or a subdomain with automatic renewal and installation. Basically, you don't need to do anything. Once you add a domain and you point it to the server, it will automatically get free Let's Encrypt SSL certificate. You can also manage cron jobs from here. You can choose how often the cron job to be executed, and then you can add the cron job that you want to be executed. You can also control the PHP versions. Here you can see that PHP, the latest PHP 8, it's 8.0, the latest is 8.1. Not yet added to sPanel, but it will be added maybe in the next couple of weeks. Here you can change the PHP version. We support from 5.6 to the 8.0 PHP. Of course, as you all know, PHP, the latest PHP version is the recommended and the best to run. We also have Node.js supported, and you also have PHP ini editor, where you can, here is a basic editor where you can set the most basic variables and change them if you require some custom PHP settings, or you can use the advanced editor, which allows you to add a custom PHP ini directly, and here you can just add the PHP configuration that you want to have for this domain. sPanel is running on Apache web server by default, and PHP is executed as via PHP FPM, which is the fastest free way of running PHP, so that you get the fastest PHP processing. And sPanel also supports Lightspeed and OpenLightspeed. Lightspeed is the paid version of the fastest web server in the world, while OpenLightspeed, it's you get the same speed but for free. And sPanel is there are not many that will support OpenLightspeed. For example, cPanel doesn't support it, and maybe everyone knows the reason for not supporting it. The end user won't pay money for it, so that's why it's not supported. sPanel is around everything that is free, because internet was created to be free and to bring value to people using it. sPanel was developed to allow every website owner to have their own server, because the server is the only way to have an isolated and secure environment for your website. We also have integrated in sPanel the Softaculous tool which allows you to install Joomla or any other from more than 400 applications with a single click. Here I can quickly install or just use an installation that I did some hours ago to show you how Joomla loads on sPanel. This is Joomla version 4, and it is just a simple installation. This is the homepage. When you click on the admin URL, it should automatically load you should automatically enter the admin section. Let me see if my session didn't close, and that's why. Or let me just do one more quick installation. It really takes a minute to install. And one more thing to mention, that with Openlight speed that is supported in sPanel, you also get for free the best caching plugin out there for Joomla, which is Lightspeed for Joomla Cache. You can also look at it on the Lightspeed website, and basically the benchmark, the Joomla benchmark performance compared to Apache is significant. You can see what is the difference here. Basically with Openlight speed, which is free, you can post unlimited websites on sPanel and have this speed here. Okay, the installation is completed. Now we are in the admin interface of Joomla 4, and I think I don't need to explain how to use the Joomla 4 interface. Yeah, there are no warnings after the installation. With the help of Brian, PHP is configured to meet all the requirements of Joomla 4. It's loading pretty quickly. sPanel has multiple software optimizations related to website speed, and usually websites migrated from cPanel or other control panels, and they usually load much faster on sPanel. Let me get back to the interface, to the user interface. When you manage databases, you can also add manually databases. And also at the same time, this was a feature request by a user, because in cPanel, when you create a database, you can't create the database user along with it and also grant access automatically to the database, so that you don't need to click 10 times in order to have a user that has access to the MySQL database, and you can use it to add data to the database, access it, or select and perform other actions. In the email section, you can add forwarders, you can access webmail, which is the rain loop webmail interface. It is pretty easy to add a new mailbox. You quickly generate a password. You can copy it. You can set the email quota in megabytes, how much space you want that mailbox to use. You can create it and you can log into through the Rainloop webmail interface and start sending and receiving emails. Everything is working quickly because of all of the tweaks we have done to achieve really great performance in both the sPanel interface and also for the loading speed of the websites. I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have if you have any. Because if I have to talk about sPanel, I can really talk all night, and I guess you won't like me you won't like to see me talking the whole meeting and the whole night.
Vlad, how do you switch to use Openlight speed?
Okay, that's something that currently has to be performed from technical support.
Oh, okay.
There is a feature request where they want that feature added to the admin interface of sPanel, which will allow the admin, the customer, to do it automatically from the graphic interface, and that's really easy to be added because the functionality is there. It's in the API. But before that, we have some really important features to complete before we get to that part. But it will also be available in sPanel. The user will be able to choose the web server they want to run.
Okay, thanks.
Yes.
Maybe just because I've seen it and other people haven't, if you maybe show the request to feature.
I can say, Vlad, you've got plenty of time left, so
yeah,
please do carry on.
Yeah. It's just that I've seen quite a lot of new things come in.
I can tell you a little bit more about how we develop new features in sPanel. Basically, we follow what the users of sPanel need and request at features.spanel.io, which is also available as a link here under the settings section. Every user of sPanel may sign up in this system, and they will be able to submit feature requests where others can vote for them, and depending on the votes, we start developing the most wanted features because we think that the users that are using the system, they should decide what they want to see in sPanel as functionality. And here you can see that the top requested features are already in progress. We also planned integration with the WHMCS system, which also has to be set to in progress soon. There are some completed, the Node.js integration, which was completed some months ago. The sPanel API, which will allow developers to integrate the whole interface, everything that can be achieved here. It will also be available in the API, and you can integrate sPanel in your own client area or some web application, and allow your customers to perform different actions. For example, to add new email addresses or do something that is outside, so they don't need to log into the sPanel interface. Right now, we are working on those features here, and at the moment, this is the most requested feature here, and also one of the most requested on the cPanel feature system, where the users want to see how much CPU and RAM each website each account is using. But cPanel so far didn't get to that feature request, and it is 90% ready, and we plan to get these three at the top in sPanel in the next 2 to 3 weeks maximum. Something more interesting that I can tell you about sPanel is that it comes with its own backup system that will automatically archive your data, the whole server, to a remote backup server that is always in another data center. We don't store the backups in the same data center because most likely most of you know what happened some months ago with a huge data center where the backup servers and the production servers they just got burnt in a fire. Do you know about that incident? Okay, that's why we store the backups in a different data center on different backup servers, so that if the worst happens, the data will still be available and won't be lost.
There was a company called Oak Tree in the UK, which were in Coventry, I believe, and I actually used them in the very early days of the internet. We're talking very early days, and I heard they were growing very fast, and I heard rumours, and they did their backups and their main sites together. And I'd heard rumours that they weren't doing very well, so I moved all my clients away from them. But one client said, "No, I love them. I want to stay." Actually, I was talking to them today, and when they went down, of course, he tried to ring them to get his backup, but they went down. So never host your backups and the thing together. I would say with the same company, not only being in the same physical location, but sometimes it's really useful to have a backup elsewhere as well. Because if the company goes down and you can't get through to them, you've lost your backup.
Yeah, that's absolutely true, and we always recommend and suggest to people to keep their own backups because that is the safest way. Anything may happen, and that is really important to keep in a safe place. And the safest place is if you have multiple backups on multiple drives on multiple computers. Because when things go wrong, they go very wrong, and you don't want to have your server failing along with the production backup and also your computer drive failing at the same time. So keeping it on multiple devices is the best way. At the moment, I'm looking at the DNS editor, which allows you to edit any DNS record in your DNS zone and add different type of additional records. Behind sPanel, each server that comes with sPanel installed also comes with fully managed service, which means that the customer owning and using the VPS don't need to know anything about server administration, and whenever they have a question related to anything related to sPanel, to the server, to some website issues about databases or anything that is related to the hosting of the website, they have technical support that is available 24 hours per day to answer any questions they may have and help them with any issues they encounter. Here is another feature in sPanel where you can see how much space each folder and file uses. And if you if your account takes too much space and you're not sure where exactly the most of the data is, this tool will help you to find out and clean any unneeded files, or just understand that you need to upgrade your VPS and add some more space.
Could you drill down into that, or was it just showing the top level? Top
Uh,
level?
In sPanel, you can upgrade disk space and get as much as you need, because most companies allow you to switch to different plans. For example, switch to a plan from 50 gigs to the next one, which is with 100 gigs. But if you need 10 gigs, you can't get it. You have to pay for 100. Scalahosting allows the users to choose and configure their VPS with as much resources as they need, and they don't pay for resources they don't need and don't use. You can add an additional gig of RAM or additional CPU core. You can fully customize the resources of your server to really fit your needs. Let me think about anything else that is important to mention about sPanel here. Yeah, I can. This is actually some news that at some point will be announced. We are currently working on sPanel version 3, which will allow the users to also have full root access to sPanel, and along with that, they will be able to control sPanel from a remote control server, and the user will be able to decide where they want their control server to be located, so that it is as close as possible to their visitors. We plan to release the sPanel version 3 at the beginning of next year. And we plan to continue developing the most requested features. And the users are really happy when they see that their feature request was implemented and that they brought some real value to the whole system that we are developing.
And we've got a couple of questions. I'm looking through the chat on the side here. Forgive me if let's start with the bottom ones here. Dimitri was asking a couple of questions on Lightspeed. Does it support H3, and does it support pre-gzip files?
Yeah, Lightspeed was actually the first to support HTTP 3, and yeah, it is supported. If you have Open Lightspeed or just the Lightspeed Enterprise version, which is paid, you'll have those features. Compression is enabled by default to add an additional speed boost for website loading.
Could you expand a little bit on H3 for those that don't know? I mean, I know one was non-asynchronous, 2 brought in synchronicity so that you can have asynchronous, so you can have up and down. But what's H3 bringing in?
It will operate via the UDP, which allows for a faster transmission of the data, because when the transmission is happening over TCP, there are multiple checks and multiple checks before the data is actually transmitted, and those checks are performed in order to know that all the data and nothing was missed during the transmission, and it's of course slower. All those checks slow down the whole transmission. while via UDP it is much faster. That's why all of the DDoS attacks, most of them are actually happening via UDP, because there you can attack quicker and easier.
Also, all your games you will use UDP rather than TCP, because you don't really need to verify the packages of where the gunmen were. You need to know where they are now. So because of the speed, it's all UDP. Interesting. Richard, you got your hand up.
Yeah, I think the question, the part about the compression was misunderstood. I think Dimitris meant pre-compression. That doesn't mean compression on the fly like mod deflate would do on an Apache. I think it means if you can have pre-zipped files, and then like we can do with htaccess rules to redirect to those if they are present. I think he meant that. And I had a question about the backups. If it's a complete server backup, and if yes, does that include the database, or is database and the files back up separately?
Okay, just to finish then the question about the htaccess. The Lightspeed Enterprise supports htaccess Apache htaccess directives 100%, while the Openlight Speed supports just the mod rewrite from htaccess. About the backups, actually we also have each sPanel VPS also gets three free snapshots where if there is some really big issue and the customer requires that their server to be returned to the state yesterday or 2 days ago, and no matter if the server uses 50 gigs or 50 terabytes of space, that switch to the yesterday state can be done with a snapshot, and it takes seconds.
But does that include the web server and the database? What do you do if the database runs on a different server than the web server? Is it like in Akiba, for example, that you can say, I want this backup and this includes then the files and the database together? Or do you have to handle that out yourself, which belongs to what?
The sPanel backup copies all the data, including databases, the websites files, and the configurations that the whole server, the whole data that is required for us to bring back everything into the same state that it was before. It includes all the data, and you can restore data from the sPanel graphic interface, and you can restore single files or single database. You can choose to download it or to restore it to a different database, and then using phpMyAdmin access the data that you need specifically restored and copy just that part so that you don't restore the whole database. And I think that's it.
Thank you.
Just looking through if there's any other ones. Have we missed any? There's a couple of comments about backups are not backups unless you tested them, which is good advice.
I see here the last one is a question from Jennifer. If I have my own AWS servers, can I use sPanel with them, or do I need to go through a partner? We are actually partnering with both AWS and DigitalOcean, where we allow the end user to select any data center of that's powered by AWS or DigitalOcean, and get their sPanel VM deployed in there. In
So
this
I have
case,
to start over, right? I mean, it's a brand new thing, not, I can't somehow utilize the sPanel service from an existing AWS.
yeah, if you purchase the VMs from AWS directly, you can't install sPanel there. It basically the instances must be purchased via Scalahosting so that we can perform all the actions related to deploying, configuration, and everything, so that the server is ready for use.
I understand. Okay, well, thank you. Thank you very much. This is very interesting. I'm enjoying your talk.
Yeah, in sPanel version 3, we'll allow data centers and bigger web studios that run more than 50 VMs to be able to install sPanel in their own infrastructure, because I'm getting requests on daily basis from companies that are 100 times our size that want to integrate sPanel in their infrastructure, because all of them are tired from what cPanel is doing every year. This year there is another increase coming, about 15 to 20%. And yeah, they are tired and they want to find an alternative. And sPanel is yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, sPanel is an alternative, and it was built around our experience with cPanel users, because from there we basically gathered statistics from over 300 servers to find out what the users need and what the users are actually using, because in cPanel there are tons of features that no one is using. And what we did is we've got the 80% of most used features, and we developed all of them and added them to sPanel. And people lodge there and they say, whoa, I don't have this stuff that I don't need, and it's really easy to just to see what I need, and not many more features that that I never use. And
absolutely.
Just
so in
me.
version 3, it's going to be if you're huge, if you have more than, what did you say, 500 servers?
Actually, we haven't decided yet, but it will be something like 50 maybe. But not one, because
not one. Because then there would be no point, really. All right, thank you so very much.
You're welcome.
Brian, as you're a customer of them, I believe, or at least one of your sites, do you want to have a word about what they're like from the other end?
Yeah, I mean, they're brilliant. I've got two separate servers. One is a fairly big one, and the other one is the absolute base server. Both work great. One cool bit was I was doing a live stream last year, or I was scheduled to do a live stream of something on Christmas Day, and at 3 o'clock, at 3:15, and at 3 o'clock the server went down, and it's Christmas Day, and logged into support. Support already said, we know that we're already fixing it, and 5 minutes later, all done, fixed. Which was Christmas Day, so can't really get any better than that. And the other things something else that Vlad didn't mention, I suppose this is whether this is sPanel or Scala, not quite sure, but obviously you've got full SSH access to the server, which is great if you're using Visual Studio Code, because then you can use Visual Studio Code as the remote editor, so the editor's running on your machine, and you're just directly editing the files on the server, which I know you should never do, but we all do, and that's pretty good. like Vlad said, it's fast. I've not got Lightspeed yet, and I don't even think I've enabled Joomla's own caching layer. And just because I didn't, and it's really, really fast. Really fast. I was with another hosting company, which most of you know. And when I did my test switch over, it was considerably faster than that other hosting company with the exact same site. So, as far as I'm concerned, they've been great. I also like the other thing I really like is the new features that you can actually suggest something, and 9 times out of 10, you'll suddenly find it appearing on your on your sPanel when you log in. I'm still waiting for the Joomla manager, like you have the WordPress manager, but
it's ready. Yeah, it's ready.
Always just ready.
It's ready in the API. It has to be added to the graphic interface, but 2 of our front-end developers that are working on that part got COVID, and they are now 2 weeks.
Okay.
No updates.
So let me know if you need a hand with that.
Yeah.
Jen asked if the support chat is ticket only, or is there a phone number as well?
I see here one question that I didn't answer from Bjorn, and it is, if I sell hosting, does the site users get their own login? Do they get their own domain implemented like abc.com/sPanel? Any domain that is added to sPanel gets their own login URL, which is domain.com/sPanel.
And Jen was asking about support chat. Is it ticket only, or is it phone?
We might have a gap in talking, but also I would like to know about reverse proxies and root.
Okay, root access. Does it support reverse proxies? Regarding root access, it will be available in sPanel version 3.
Thank you.
Which will be released at the beginning of next year. Reverse proxies, do you refer to Nginx? We support
I just
sPanel
know that I'm going to need them.
sPanel supports the Nginx web server as a reverse proxy of Apache, so that the static content such as images, CSS files, and so on are actually served by Nginx, proxying the request to Apache, which makes it a little bit faster, but the latest versions of Apache are fast enough, so Nginx is not really so much needed as it was maybe 2-3 years ago.
Okay. And to be honest, I don't really understand reverse proxies. I just know that I'm going to need some within the next year or so. So works for me.
And I also see here is support chat and ticket only. Is there a phone number to call? Right now, technical support is provided via the live chat and tickets only, because usually when someone comes to the live chat, we are able to investigate the issue as we talk to them, as we chat to them on the live chat, and resolve the issue on the chat, and not ask them, hey, this issue is too complicated, you have to submit a ticket.
Yeah,
that's
totally.
why we don't have a phone number. We had in the beginning many years ago, and it just doesn't work, because you can talk to someone and answer some really basic questions, which is usually not the case. People come to us when they have a real technical issue, and not just a quick question.
Perfect. I don't have a problem with it. I mean, if everything works, then and it works well, then you really don't need a phone number. I just find that clients seem to have some kind of silly false sense of security by having a phone number.
Yeah, it usually works. Most of the time, it just works because nowadays, thanks to the cloud improvements and the cloud services, everything is redundant, dual and triple redundant, and it's really hard for services to stop functioning. Network is redundant. We keep 3 copies of data, which basically means that multiple servers with drives and the right drives need to fail in order to cause interruptions in the service. Basically, we didn't have such interruptions from many months, many years, maybe, I would say. Let me see some. Yeah, does sPanel also support the skeleton function? Actually, this is a function of in the operating system where you can decide when a new operating system is added to the system, what files to be copied along with it by default. We don't have that included in sPanel because people never asked about it, and people don't use it much, even in cPanel where that feature is supported, and that's why we don't have it yet in sPanel. But this is really a basic thing and can be included really quickly once we see demand for it.
Great, thank you. That's very comprehensive. I particularly like the Christmas Day comments because the ones that I use at the moment, they are excellent between 9 and 5:30. But of course, all problems happen at 5:31. So yeah, it's very nice to have somewhere that you can go during the normal closed office hours, because that's often when things happen. Brilliant. Okay, well,
let me just one more thing. Let me give you my email address, and if anyone is interested to try sPanel for a month or 2 months or 3 months, whatever you need, just email me and I'll deploy the VMs quickly and send you login details to play with it and see if it will help you in some way.
I must say, you did that for me when I was doing the just before Joomla 4 was released, and we were doing the pages and trying to get some of the metrics for it. And I didn't have H2 on my server, so I wasn't getting the full 100% for Lighthouse. So you did spin up one. I put on a Joomla 4 on there, and then managed to take a snapshot of it doing 100% with the speed, which was nice that we could use in the advertising. So that was really helpful. So I can testify that they are fast, definitely. Brilliant. Thank you very much.
Thank you for inviting me to to the meeting. And hopefully you will invite me again next time.
Yeah, no. It's interesting to see, and we'd be interested to see the development and any new features that you have and things like that. That's great. That's good. And often we get people have questions afterwards, so they've got your details so they can get through. So that'd be great.
Oh, if you run into any questions after the meeting, feel free to email me. I'll answer quickly because my email is always connected. And
Okay, well, thanks very much. I'm going to go through a few little bits quite quickly.